Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. All praise belongs to God, and may endless peace and blessings be upon the Prophet Muhammad and upon all prophets and messengers. I wanted to share with you a few statements from the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, that give us an idea about how to deal with people in life and how to deal with relationships that we have. In a very important narration that we have from the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he said, أَبْغَضُ الرِّجَالِ إِلَى اللَّهِ الْأَلَدُّ الْخَصِمِ, that the most hated of people in the sight of God are those who are stubborn arguers. And this is narrated in Bukhari and Muslim. And what that means is that a person who's stubborn in arguing, who is really attached to their point of view, even if it's the wrong point of view. We're taught by God that we need to be people who are people attached to the truth, and that we submit our egos and our own thoughts and our own feelings when we find out that something is true and that something is better. Allah says in the Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين والأقربين. O you who believe, uphold justice and bear witness to God, even if it is against your own selves, your parents, or your close relatives. Human beings, generally speaking, we have a bias. We're most biased towards our own selves. When we feel attached to a particular point of view, or we feel that our honor or our reputation is on the line, we become particularly stubborn about something that we believe in, even if we're proven wrong. But Allah tells us in the Quran, God the Exalted says in the Quran, be people who bear witness to the truth, and be people of justice, even if it is against your own selves. So when you find out that something is actually correct, and it is the better way, then we actually have to submit our egos and accept that thing as true. So being someone who is stubborn and who is hard-headed and who likes to argue with people is something that is disliked by God the Exalted. Now, we live in a time, particularly with social media, where you have people who love to argue just for the sake of argumentation. We're taught that that's not something beloved to God. And it's one of the things that causes discord and hatred in people's hearts towards one another. That when we argue and when we disagree, and sometimes things begin to escalate, and then people start to accuse the other of being an imbecile, or being wrong, or being stupid, or being ignorant, and then people begin to hurt each other's feelings and attack one another's honor, that creates greater and greater discord between people's hearts. And what we have from Allah and His Messenger in Islam is it teaches us the way that we have beautiful relationships. And it teaches us to be critical of our own selves. So when we are faced with a situation and we recognize that maybe we had the wrong position before, that it is more pleasing to God to humble ourselves and accept the truth. And that causes reconciliation between people. That prevents a lot of the harm and the heartache and the enmity that can grow between people's hearts when they begin to argue. One of the things that we also learn from this hadith, from this statement from the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is that the people who are beloved to God, if this is someone who is not beloved to God, who is a stubborn arguer, then a person who is actually forbearant and patient and listens to other people's points of view, and is accepting of differing opinions, and does not attack people and harm people, is actually someone who is beloved to God, and who does acts that are beloved to God. Finally, one last piece of wisdom that we can get from this narration of the Prophet Muhammad is that we have to refine our own egos and our own souls. And that we have to build beautiful relationships between people and in our own lives and in our interactions with others. And when people commit themselves to the truth and humble themselves from needless argumentation, that creates love, that creates stability, that creates healthy relationships, that creates peace and stability within society. So we see all of these things taught to us by the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, in this one short statement, that the most abhorrent, the most hated person in the sight of God is someone who is a stubborn arguer, who just likes to argue for the sake of argumentation. So we ask God that He make us people of reconciliation, that He make us people who are committed to the truth, even if it is heavy upon our own egos, and that He blesses our families and our communities and society at large. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin.